Hey, Jeff, it's West Coast Ramble, episode 40. Wait, it's not Jeff, it's Paul.
Hey.
Yes, friends, we had a problem. This is episode 42, West Coast Ramble, and my friend Jeff West is sick. He called me 30 minutes ago, and so I got on the phone. I called Paul, Pope Paul, coming in to take his place. Say hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Thank you. And it happens to be that we have a great show today because we got our good friend Tommy Harkenreiter is in here. He brought his guitar and he also brought a Belgium with him.
Nice.
A guy named Shakedown Tim. Is that right, sir?
Completely right.
Yeah, as you could tell, he talks a little different. He talks kind of cool, but he plays. Friends, look, we're going to get into it in a little bit, but I'm fascinated at the fact how like guys from like Europe and stuff play blues, play their instrument the right way with the right phrasing, and it's you're gonna find out for yourselves when we get into the music. And Tommy's here because we got Tommy. Why you got all these guys coming out all the time? Before we get started, I want to find out what are you doing here with all these other guitar players coming in from all around the world.
It's a good question. Years ago, our friend Linwood Slim used to bring. He went over to Europe. A lot of the Americans, West Coast guys, went over to Europe, and Slim took he had a keen eye for noticing the talent abroad. And he'd bring him over here. And when he brought him over here, it was a great opportunity for, us out in California or in the U.S. to be able to see music that, otherwise most of us would never get. And back then, just trying to travel to go see blues abroad was tough. So I've been lucky. Guys like Tim and Nico and stuff, when I go over there, have been able to show me around. I want to reciprocate.
Yeah.
So I love it when they come out here, and I wish they would stay longer.
So when you come out here, you take them to Disneyland, you take them to Knott's Berry Farm, you take them to the beach. Where do you take them?
Oh yeah, that's exactly. I think we're going to Disneyland tomorrow because
we're in Disneyland every day. If you ask me. But we've never been there.
So being from California, right? The most important things are obviously going for food, tacos, right?
Yeah.
That's when I was over in Europe. That's something that was, kind of in short supply.
Yeah.
And actually, outside of Southern California, it seems like it's in short supply. So
yeah.
We'd make a food tour, lots of tacos, and then we have a good friend, mentor of mine, TK Smith, who lives near Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
And I love taking the boys out there, introduce them to him, get a chance to see his shop, his guitars, get to play some music.
Yeah.
And just the making that pilgrimage out there through Palm Springs and stuff is something worth seeing. I think
it's funny that you say that because me and my friend Jeff West, and maybe Paul, if you want to go too, if you're available, we're going to take a cruise on out to TK's place, and he's going to play some music for us. He's got a band going, so we're actually going to record him in the band. And TK's he's a little sly, like he's all, do we have to really talk between songs, or do we have to and I don't, are you going to take pictures? And
yeah,
he's kind of funny like that. He's kind of like the Ben, like I was telling you earlier before the show started, he's kind of like the Ben Kenobi. He lives out in the desert, and you go there for wisdom.
Oh, that's absolutely the case, because I come back and I'm always inspired. I think a couple of years ago I went out there. I think I went out there with Nico Duportal from France, and I was in a rut, and go out there and just watching TK just pick up a guitar and just play a note. You feel like, wow, that's the best sounding note I've ever heard.
Well, you know what, friends? Here's what we're going to do with our show. We're talking for the last 2 minutes. Enough of that. We're going to get into some music, and then after that, Paul, you're going to have to step up to the mic, and you're going to have to tell us what's going around in Southern California as far as music is concerned, because Paul plays, if you don't know, Paul plays in like 6 to 10 different bands.
Just about.
I think. So anyways, he can tell us what's going on.
You got it, man.
Hey, Tommy and Shakedown Tim, would you guys mind just kicking up anything you want?
All right.
Player's choice.
Let's take a little walk. Well. baby, take a little walk with me. I said, come on, take a little walk with me. Back to the same old place where we long to be. Early this morning about 3:30, you doing something, girl? Really worry me. I say, come on, take a little walk with me. Back to the same old place where we all long to be. Let's take a walk out on the old avenue. There's something, baby, we can do. I say, come on, take a little walk with me to the same old place where we all long to be. Where we want to be, Tommy? Come on, baby, we gonna walk so slow. After that, you wanna walk some more? I say, come on, take a little walk with me to the same old place where we all long to be. Same old place where we all long to be.
Oh, nice. Oh, that was good. That gave me goose flesh.
Goose flesh.
Thanks for starting out the show on a good note. Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know that doesn't really sound like your band. You're a little bit harder usually when you're playing in the Pope Paul and the Illegals.
Yeah.
But I know you groove on all types of music.
Oh, yeah.
So how you feeling about
I
that?
love it, man. I respect it. And they were talking a little early before we started recording, and like we're one of those lucky bands where we'll get hired for, country shows or rockabilly shows just because we do one of those songs, even though we're like a rock band, like how you get booked for rockabilly bands when you want to be a blues guy. But so I can appreciate that, but just always killer guitar playing, anyone Tommy brings along is always going to be badass, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
dug it.
With that in mind, Paul,
Yes.
please take this time to tell us what's going on in Southern California and around, and I also tell us about Nashville Boogie as well.
All right. Well, NAMM Week's coming up next week, but if we get the show out by today, tomorrow, a really cool show is going down at Campus Jack's. Jittery Jack and Amy Miss Amy are going to be playing with the Moontones down at Campus Jacks, and they only tour the West Coast maybe once a year. Really worth it to see them. You can look up a lot of their stuff on Botflix, find a lot of their good videos, and the Moontones are always killer. They'll have their real bass player with them, so that'll be good for them.
What do you mean, real bass player? You play with them?
I sub for them often because of Lakshmi, but you'll actually get pretty much the real band, I think, tomorrow. And that's going to be worth it. You should see it just for Amy, too, and Jittery Jack. And let's see, what else is coming up? Well, NAMM shows. We're going to have the guitar special at OG Mike's the 17th. And it's going to be a Hot Rod Trio, JP McDermott, Seatbelt, all kinds of good rockabilly bands representing Gretsch, doing stuff during NAMM week.
Yeah, I think Alter Billies are on that too.
Alter
right?
Billies, yeah, of course, our
Cool.
good friends Alter Billies, and a lot of good stuff going on. The day after, or January 18th, you got Kid Ramos's birthday bash.
Oh.
Let me see, where is that going to be? Same spot. It's at OG Mike's as well. Yep, exactly. So yeah, NAMM week always brings out a lot of really good shows, but if you're listening to this show today or tomorrow, you definitely want to try and catch Jittery Jack and Miss Amy. Or you could also catch JP McDermott at the Anaheim Packing District. I'll be playing bass for him from like 1 to 3 tomorrow. But besides that, that's some stuff to keep on the radar.
Right on. Well, thank you very much, young Paul. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
that. Now, before we got into that song, well, here's what I'd like to talk about is the fact, and forgive me for bringing up the European thing. I was watching Bopflix, as you were talking about Bopflix, and a couple of years ago I saw the Kokomo Kings on there.
Oh yeah.
And the guy's playing, okay, he's playing really good. He's on the harmonica and he's singing, but his phrasing, I'm all, is this guy from the South? Because I've done some traveling. I've been around the South, and just the way he sang, he had like an accent. And I'm all, that's cool. They got some guy on Bopflix from the South. He must have done a tour down there. Anyway, so I kind of look up the Kokomo Kings and like what they're from Norway or Sweden or Finland or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Norway or
Yeah.
Sweden. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm all,
I met them several times, so I I hope they don't listen now because I forget.
but and the guy's all, well, thank you very much. Here's our next song, and I'm all, what the heck, dude? The guy just a second ago sounded like he was from the South,
yeah.
but his phrasing is like, so like, okay, like when you play your guitar and sing, it sounds different. It's sort of like, when I was a kid, like, how come the Beatles sing with the English sound like they're American when they're singing? Like you kind of freak out. But I like the fact that it kind of adds to the authenticity of the music when, okay, man, you play the note, you just bend it the right way, the right phrasing, and then you throw in like the way the guys talked, like some old dude back in Mississippi back in, the 30s, 40s, I just, to me, like, I love that. And I like how people can recognize that and pull that out of your music. So like so in other words, thank you.
Okay.
You're doing a good job.
If you go into my head, that's my fantasy thing that's going on. Like even when I'm in Europe, okay,
Yeah.
I see all these things, but in my head I'm always a little bit in Mississippi or in Orange County.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about that earlier, and you said that you were in the South
Yes.
a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and you went to Mississippi, and you went to Open Jam Night.
Yeah, it was at the Ground Zero. They had the most southern night on earth, or weekend on earth. And on Thursday night they had like a jam night. I entered there without a guitar, so they gave me. Nobody wanted to lend me a guitar, so they took the Village Idiots guitar. It was the most crappy guitar I ever played on, and then I could sit in and start playing. And but there were a lot of people like, yeah. They were like T-shirts of Dwayne Allman or whatever, and they were jamming because it's 3 chords, and then we started playing. And after one song, I wanted to go off stage, and it was Sean Apple and Marty, the harmonica player there. I have 2 fantastic guys. They grabbed me by my collar, so I played the whole night on that crappy guitar that fell apart. But from then on, every juke joint I went was like, "Hey, Belgium, I got to pee." And they gave me the guitar, and they never came back. Yeah, when the tip jar was full. Then they were, but I had the time of my life. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome. Especially get kudos from those dudes.
Yeah,
They're playing every night doing that.
yeah, and the most amazing thing was I didn't sing back then. I was just playing guitar, and I was in Red's Lounge, and there were some older women. They heard it all. They a lot of experience and stuff, and they were sitting first with their backs towards me on the bar, and then they started to sing. And I was singing King Bee, Slim Harpo, because I have to do something, so I started singing that. And then they started shouting back and talking dirty back. So, and then they started dancing. They got on the bandstand and banging tambourines and stuff. And yeah, that was,
It's like-
I was so high that evening, and not from the beer, not from anything, just from the music and
Yeah.
the situation.
and the soul of,
Oh, yeah.
of the land.
That's
That's awesome.
that inspired me to keep singing and playing that. And also Robert Belfour was there, standing right in front of me. It's like, oh shit! So and afterwards we drank moonshine from a big jerry can. That's, oh yeah. I can still see, so it ended good.
That's killer. See, okay, and then you're talking about rockabilly festivals. Like you touched on that, Paul, and touch on this is when you go to festivals. Now, obviously, you're blues,
Yeah.
but you'll get booked at rockabilly festivals, and so you're sitting in there. But it kind of sounds like it turns into a good thing, because if you go to a blues festival and there's like 10 blues bands going, it's the same 145 all night
Yeah.
long.
It's boring.
But if you mix it up with, man, now you got some rockabilly, some of that stuff, some swing, some jump blues, some blues. You get, for me, like my tastes, I like all that stuff.
Oh, me too.
And I would imagine most guys that are into like vintage music like all that stuff. So when you get in there, like for you, what is better? The I don't want to get you in trouble, but like, what are some of the better festivals you've been to?
Oh, there are quite a few good festivals, but sometimes what I really like is like when there's like a small festival that's and the booker is like really a music lover, and it's not about the money and stuff. He just wants to have that band and that band, and he has an idea, just like not make it too big and have a good time. And there are some in France, Belgium, and stuff, because a lot of the bigger festivals now, they started out as a blues festival and they were really good, and then they attracted more and more and more people, and then they got bigger sponsors, and now they got like Status Quo to be the top of the bill or whatever.
Yeah.
And the ticket price goes up in the air, and I hate it because there's so much good bands. Like I never see, like, for instance, Baraton is Rhythm 4. They never play in Europe. They're one of the best bands now, I think. They like, and then like you get those guys like Junior Watson or James Harmon or Keith Ramos. They should be headlining those festivals. It happens, but some festivals they just go for the commercial things. So I'd rather go to not the biggest ones, but intermediate festivals.
Yeah. Well, let's do another song. And I'll get more into that. I'm coming up with more questions as you're talking. So would you guys mind jumping in? And do you have any kind of a jump blues thing you could give me? Something little up tempo thing. I'd like to hear
Little
that.
up tempo. Maybe do some Pee Wee Crater. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
beautiful, friends.
Yeah, we can fade it out. Yeah, it was too long anyway to be a 45, so we're safe.
I dig that. Tommy, I forgot you're a really good guitar player.
You know, Tommy, I forgot you're a really good guitar player too.
Shut up.
No.
Yeah, hey, let's do that rig rundown right now since we got here. And Tommy, since I'm looking at your guitar, why do you got 3 pickups on that thing? You use all those?
Sometimes I do. You know, they say 2's better than 1, 3's better than 2. So, but
I haven't seen that guitar before. On you.
no, this was when my student brought this over, and he opened it up, and I just fell in love with it. So it's a K upbeat,
Oh, okay.
and these pickups are they're Kleenex box pickups, what they put on the Barney Kessel K, and essentially, for all you guitar geeks, they're a very hot P90 is what they are, and very fat neck, very big. But I played it, and so initially the look is what drew me to it. Then obviously,
Yeah.
I keep playing it, so I like the way it sounds as well.
Yeah, sounds great.
You know, yeah. The spruce top, I think it's maple sides and back. I think that's the deal, and the neck is huge.
Yeah, big old fat thing.
You know, and the headstock looks like a refrigerator, so it just adds to it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that's the newest acquisition, and I'm very happy. And
Yeah.
but I'm still using the Quilter amplifiers,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm using the Nocturne pedals built by Tavo Vega,
Yeah.
and I'm very happy. It's interesting. The older I get, the less I want to carry,
Yeah.
and so I think I got this thing down to a good science. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's
Well,
nice.
I like it when you come in. You always have something new in your quiver, or something. You know, you'll stick with a guitar for what, like 9 months to a year, and then all of a sudden you
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah, well, you know, I keep everything. I mean, I'm not good for, you know, getting rid of stuff. I'm sure sometimes, you know, it would make more space in my room if I decided to liquidate
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But you know, there's very little that I've gotten rid of as far as vintage instruments.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just hold on to 'em.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time changing between instruments. Once I get accustomed,
Mm-hmm.
I can't just pick up another guitar and have that neck feel quite at home.
Yeah.
And, some people have no problems.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, you know, once I conceive a sound in my head and, you know, my fingers, you know, are able to attack the instrument right, then I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
All right. And, Shakedown Tim, tell us about your rig. What do you got there?
Yeah. Normally, every time I come here to Tommy, I don't have to bring anything because there are always going to be fantastic guitars.
Really?
So this is a very old K. Dan Dunham restored it. It's like a Barney Kessel Jr. with K pancake pickups in it
Mm-hmm.
instead of those Kleenex box. And I love the guitar. I discover new sounds every day on this one.
Yeah.
And this amp is like, it's the best. It's an old Magnatone Troubadour. It's like 18, 17 watts, P12N. And yeah, all you need is a guitar, a cable, and this amp. And
Just blow it out.
yeah, can be beat.
What kind of pedals you use? You got what? You got 3 pedals?
Yeah, I got like a vintage tremolo.
Okay.
I got like the 63 Fender Reverb tank in a pedal from
Right.
Boss, and the most important pedal is the chromatic tuner. So and that's all. But sometimes I just don't use them.
Yeah.
There's only one pedal I always carry. That's Tavo's Barnyard. If I have to play on an amp I don't know, that
Yeah.
helped me a lot while touring.
So advertisement for Tavo.
Oh yeah. Well, it's very true.
Yeah, but it's true. Yeah.
Because when I travel overseas, sometimes you get an amp. You know, there's no way it's got to possibly sound good, and the Barnyard is kind of a magic pedal.
Oh, really?
Whatever you plug it into, it makes anything sound good.
Really? I might have to get that one.
I have the pedal
Yeah,
too.
because
It's an emergency. Really?
I've been trying to get you on it. Yeah, it's a great pedal.
All right, cool.
I told you about it a few times.
You
but
probably have, Paul. And
yeah.
usually you tell me like really good advice, and I just kind of like, yeah, whatever, Paul. And then like a year later, I'm all
And now Tommy's telling you the same thing.
Now he's gonna listen, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
listen.
that's terrible. No, I got to listen
I'm
to you,
messing
Paul,
with
more.
you.
I'm used to like old 40s Gibson amps or Masco PAs and stuff, and that pedal is the only thing in the world that gives me that sound. And I didn't believe it at first, but everybody was talking about it, and then I got it. It's like, yeah, it's amazing. So yeah.
Ah, cool. Wow. So Tavo's got a pretty good deal going then.
He does. And we talked about that pedal for a long time because he's generally, associated with the rockabilly world and paying,
Yeah.
very diligent attention to the needs of the rockabilly guitar player.
Yeah.
And we talked, and he was really, he listened great, and he had a great concept of what 40s jump blues was supposed to sound like. So he really designed a pedal for a different sub-idiom
Yeah.
of, and that's what's great about all his products,
Mhm.
is he pays really special attention to everybody, and he seems to find those little things, those special, nuances,
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like you guys to do one more song, and then when we come back, I wanted you guys to talk about influences. Like if we could do like blues guitar 101, and you could say, okay, I'm a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, and I can play a couple licks from Stevie Ray Vaughan. What's the next step? I want to hear you guys play a song first,
Yeah.
and then you guys can get into that. You guys are gonna.
The next step is to go to the record store and buy some records.
How dare you, sir? How dare you insult Stevie Ray Vaughan?
No, I'm not. No, I'm a big fan. Don't get me wrong, but if you listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan, you hear a lot of
Yeah.
them guys coming through. I'm not gonna
I
say
know.
anything bad about Stevie Ray.
All right.
or just tell him, don't listen at all, stay in school, or this will happen to
Yeah.
you. There's my public service announcement.
Maybe. Shall we do this shit? Maybe?
Okay.
All right. Ship's going down. Ship's going down. Ship's going down. Ship's going down. There's water everywhere. There's water everywhere. Water everywhere. I just sit and stare. We're just drifting and drifting. We're just floating around. We ain't got no plan today, but searching for solid ground. The ship's going down. The ship's going down. The ship's going down. There's no captain around. Please stop rocking my boat. I don't wanna go down. 'Cause I am too lazy to swim, but I sure am afraid to drown. The ship's going down. The ship's going down. The ship's going down. The ship's going down. There's no captain around. Well, there's sharks circling my boat. That sure is a heavy load. Hey, Mr. Joust, get off my back, 'cause I ain't no midnight snack. Ha! The ship's going down. The ship's going down. The ship's going down, 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 down. The ship's going down. All right, Tommy, do your thing, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all on the same boat, and this boat is about to go down. Just turn your radio up a little bit, and let's do what I got to say. Because I'm going to be the captain on your ship, and I want you all to be my fellow pirates. And I call out to have a shipwreck party tonight. I want you all to go to your closet and get the finest bottle of rum, or go to the night shop, the nearest night shop, and get the finest bottle of rum and drink the hell out of it, because it's last call for alcohol. Hey Tommy, is that a fine plan now? Last call for alcohol. Let's drink a last shot of rum. A last shot of rum. Let's drink a last shot of rum before the last beat of the drum.
Awesome, man.
All right, man. So, like, before we got into that song, I wanted to find out your influences. And let's say where did you start getting into this music? You know, everyone starts as a guitar player.
Yeah.
My assumption is you didn't go, you know what, man, I want to play. You're like a teenager, young kid. I want to start playing some old blues. Where did you start? Where was ground zero?
Okay, ground zero, really ground zero. Yeah, like my first musical experience that gave me a thrill was when I was a little kid. It was like every year, like in August, you got the big Elvis thing going on, and
Yeah.
then suddenly they played Little Richard on TV,
Yeah.
and I said, man, I love Elvis, but I think he's the king. And yeah, was like the devil and the king at the same time. It's like, wow, what is happening?
Yeah.
But I was a little kid, and I always remember that. And then later on, I played my parents' Beatles records, and then the Rolling Stones. I loved them a lot.
Yeah.
But then I started reading about them, and then I came with Howling Wolf and Muddy, and that changed my life. And I never thought I was gonna play that music because there was no place I heard that music. It was only because I went like to the library and
Mhm.
I could rent some LPs, and then I found some stuff. There was no internet or anything, so and then I remember watching on BBC. I was just changing channels on TV, and suddenly there was John Lee Hooker playing by himself with Ry Cooder, and Ry Cooder was doing nothing, like making the man work, on his
Yeah.
guitar, and was doing Crawling Kingsnake, and it was like, wow, man, that's the best thing I ever heard. And then a few years later, there was the Red Devils. They played at every festival, every rock festival in Europe. And then I thought, like, hey, man, it's possible. And then I wanted to play blues.
Yeah.
And then I thought I would be rich, famous, and get a lot of girls.
What happened?
Not everything of that list is completed.
It's got the blues at least.
Yeah, that gives you the blues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then as far as like bands coming from here, if I mention a couple, like, what is your response to them? Okay. Like we talked about Stevie Ray Vaughan, and you're all, okay, I like all that stuff. And
Yeah.
most guys who have if you just like guitars, oh, I know that guy.
Mm.
But if you research him, like you said, you would find out his phrasing actually came from this guy
Oh, yeah.
and from that guy. And
Yeah, but I started listening to Stevie Ray much later than, because everybody was crazy about Stevie Ray, and I was
Yeah.
like, hey man, I was listening to Howling Wolf moaning at midnight and
Yeah.
and jumping around in my parents' living room, pretending in my mind I was in the cotton fields on a Saturday night, and then all those things sounded too clean to me. But then I got to learn like Albert King and Freddie King and all that stuff, and Lightning Hopkins, and you hear that in Stevie Ray, and then I really went to appreciate what he was doing,
Yeah.
because then I understood. But a lot of people, they just hear the rocking thing or
yeah.
the Hendrix influences, and I love Hendrix too,
Yeah.
no doubt about that. But then I, for me, I first needed to, I wanted to dig deeper and
Yeah.
and get all that stuff, know all that stuff, and then, and then I won some concert tickets to see Canned Heat, and they showed up with Junior Watson on guitar, and that also changed my life. It's like they were playing Jump, they
Yeah.
were also doing the '60s songs, but it was like they had like with James T on the harmonica and guitar, and it's for me that was something completely different, because I wasn't into Jump music then. But
Yeah.
that's what's happening now? So yeah.
Yeah.
And he still is my favorite guitar player. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
And singer. People don't say that too often, but I think he's a great singer. So
Yeah, that's cool. And then like, what do you think about, like, dumb question for me, but like I love like the Paladins and what they do. I
yeah.
mean, what do you think about those type of bands?
Oh, I love that. They were very big. Like everybody was in the late '90s. The Paladins. Everybody had that blue jacket with the Paladins. It was
Yeah.
like everywhere. And it was like Stevie Ray and the Paladins. Those were the two things. And then I saw them live once, and it was very good. I especially loved the bass player.
Oh, Thomas.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was like juggling with beer bottles. In the beginning they were empty, but at the end of the show they were like full, and the beer was flying everywhere. And okay, that's a gimmick. But at the same time they were playing some really good music.
Oh yeah.
So
I love just watching those guys. Like that's the only band that I ever really, well, Levi. Dexter was another band, but like I saw the Paladins and like I actually just like felt like yelling and screaming. Like I'm usually
yeah.
a really pacified guy, but there's something about music, like when it's put together right with the right guys and they get the energy going, and you're
Yeah.
just like, wow, did I just pay $10
Mm.
and I'm like on a high right now from
Mm.
watching these guys, you know?
Yeah, it also was funny when I went to see the Paladins. They say like, yeah, that song from the Paladins, but then people were naming like Otis Rush songs and stuff like, yeah, that song, yeah, Dave Gonzalez, he wrote it, and it's like, no, he's playing it beautiful. And but yeah, but I like more their own material because I like what they're doing, but I think that's something extra if you get like. If you're a contemporary blues artist
Sure.
and you write new stuff and it's inspiring, that's I think that adds even more. It's not necessary, but I think that's a big benefit.
Yeah, I like seeing how people grow,
Yeah.
come up with their own stuff. That gets into another thing. So tell me about your band lineup. Like, what have you got going? Do you just play with the same guys in your band, or do you mix up players? Or
Yeah, I got my main band. I started out with upright bass, drums, and a saxophone. The guy played tenor and baritone.
yeah,
Not at the same time. I asked him, but yeah, he's lazy. So, but then after a while, I kept adding piano because it adds so
Yeah.
much to it. And now I'm playing with with upright bass. And that guy, he used to live here. They used to call him here Jack Fire because he accidentally set fire to a gas station. And he's one of the best. The drummer, very good drummer. His dad is like an old school jazz player, like 20s, 30s jazz, and he's raised with that music. And you hear those influences when he's playing a shuffle. I like that a lot,
yeah.
that tradition. And Ilya Scotch, should also check him. He's an amazing singer, guitar, piano player, and that's my main lineup. And my old saxophone player, he doesn't have the time. He didn't have the time anymore to be there the whole time. But like for special gigs, he comes in, or when I
great.
record, and that's my main band. And when they call me like to do some special sessions, I'm happy to do it because it keeps me fresh. I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, when you play with a big band, that's a lot of guys soloing, a lot of guys doing
Yeah.
their thing. Do you ever feel like, man, I wish I could just solo? Like when I was younger and I
Yeah.
played in a band, I want to do solos all night and just have people watch me. But
Oh.
if you got a big band, your piano player is going to have his time, his sax player, and
Oh, yeah.
I like that because it makes the guitar solos sound that much better. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I
something
don't have
different.
to do anything. I can play one note, and the harmonies the piano player is playing, he makes me sound good. I don't have to do anything. So I bought all these lessons from Tommy Harkenrider, and I could have spent that money on beer now.
I know it's not like that. That's cool.
Uh,
Yeah, man. I thank you very much for your CD. I'm gonna get into that. I did study up on you a little bit. Did some. You could find Shakedown Tim on
Yeah.
YouTube. That's probably the best place to go find some videos
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff that you've done.
I wish it was there like 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're playing with. I saw you with James Harmon.
Oh yeah,
So-
he's a very good friend and one of my biggest heroes too. He's
Yeah.
like the link between the pioneers in blues
Mhm.
and now he's the real deal. Even when he's not playing, he's just in the car with you, drive to the gig. When I arrive, I'm all inspired just by his stories,
Yeah,
the rhythm of his voice and stuff. He's such a cool guy.
yeah.
Mm.
Could you guys give us? What I'd like is 2 more songs from you. Just give us 1 more song.
Yeah.
Then after that, we'll kind of give our end on the show, and then you guys could play us out with something else. So whatever you got for us. What other song have you got?
While you're tuning up, Al Martinez asked me to ask, "What's your Willie Nelson story?"
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay, I have to see. Okay, I have to. It has to be censored a little bit. So yeah, I'm thinking. Okay, so
It's legal here now.
It's it's
Yeah,
legal
yeah.
in California.
Uh,
Okay, no
It's
problem.
gonna be an awesome story.
Okay, so I went to but I had to fill in on my ESTA some things. I lied on my ESTA, so they might kick me out then. So I went to a Willie Nelson concert a few years ago in Antwerp, and when we arrived, there was this guy. I parked my car near city park in Antwerp. Still, yeah, yeah. We had to walk a while to get to the gig, and there was a guy passing a joint to us. Oh, we're like, oh yeah, let's have a few puffs, and then, oh no, we're late, and we started running with that joint, but we just kept on. We weren't thinking. So when we arrived, we saw the big Willie's Nightliner was parked there. I was like, oh no, nobody outside. We even run harder, and when we passed that Nightliner, me and my friends, we literally bumped into Willie Nelson. So his bodyguards, they grabbed us, and then Willie said like, hey, leave those fine gentlemen alone. And he looked in my eyes and my friend's eyes. You guys are stoned, eh? And we talked like for 10, 15 minutes, and then he said, yeah, no, I want you guys to go in, take your time, go to the bathroom, get a beer, and I'm only gonna start like in 20 minutes until I'm sure you guys are seated down, and just take it easy. And that was my encounter with Willie Nelson.
Awesome.
So I'm so glad I was late, but yeah.
Literally bumped into him.
Yeah, and I am not used to that smoking that much and stuff. So I was like, I was stoned out of my mind. And then Willie Nelson, then a great show. It was like and also the concert hall was like for classical music with very steep, like an opera building. And we were at the back row, and I'm afraid of heights, so I was climbing. Yeah, it was a crazy night, but yeah, one of the best.
Awesome, man.
So I got to take you here to a dispensary while you're here, right?
Yeah, we should do that. Yeah,
like Disneyland.
but I'm very happy with the beer. So
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, well, you guys are going to hit us with another song?
yeah. Been down on my luck, my life down the drain. I never been down so deep in a hole I could ever get out of again. Yeah, believe me, baby, I did the best that I could. You gave me the business, you told me the lies. I took it for just as long as I could, but I had to get out of your life, girl. Believe me, baby, we never had a fine time. Never had a fine time, tell me. Oh, maybe tomorrow you wake up and find that we really had it going. I was yours and you were mine, girl. Believe me, baby, I did the best that I could. I did the best I could do. All right. Been down on my luck, my life down the drain. I never Never been down so deep in a hole I could ever get out of again, yeah. Believe me, baby, I did the best that I could.
Come out together, yes, sir. Man, I like that how you play. You know, you did some stuff with the pick, and then you're also doing with your fingers. Like that makes it sound so cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's I do that a lot. That pick is still here. Like I started out with the pick, but now I do a lot with my fingers, and
Uh-huh.
makes me feel more assured that it's there. Yeah, like a baby when you have that thing. You put,
The pacifier,
Yeah.
the chupeta.
yeah,
Some
and-
train wheels.
yeah, and they put it like in the cradle, but and it's not it's like yeah.
That's it. Your pick is always there just in case you get
Just
into
in
trouble.
case I need it, yeah. Just in case I'm in trouble, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also do a lot of hybrid picking, like play with your fingers, and
Uh huh.
if you wanna, sometimes you need it. Like if you wanna do like, it's hard to do with your fingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did it, but yeah, then my nail is gone like in 2 seconds.
Is that something you did like you practice to go with your hands, or do you just start playing, then all of a sudden you start playing with your hands because
Yeah.
that's the tone you want? You don't even know you're doing it.
I don't know what I'm doing with my fingers.
Yeah.
I watched like a lot of especially when YouTube was there. Then I could see like Lockwood or Lightning or all those guys who
Yeah.
guitar. Yeah. Or also saw some guys who played like Guitar Slim and really got the sound of it. And I saw they were playing with their fingers, and they just used their thumb and their index finger.
Yeah.
But or sometimes another finger, but I cannot do like those guys that do Travis picking or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, that's science fiction. If I look at that, I
Same
think
here.
It's beautiful.
I think it's
but,
awesome.
And for me, I just
Yeah.
I'm more like the John Lee Hooker, Lightning
You,
Hopkins.
you know what?
kinda.
That's funny you say that because I've noticed that like watching comping and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I thought, oh, that must be such difficult chords to do comping. But then when you do it, it's just lazy. Like your hands aren't moving that far, and you're just following the root note down. In other words, and then when you go see those guys play, those old dudes who've been playing guitar for a long time, and you know they never took a lesson in their life, really.
Mhm.
They just learned playing in the juke joint. It's kind of like lazy playing.
Oh yeah.
And it just kind of comes out there. I just want this tone, so I'm using my fingers now. So like, if you come at it from a standpoint of I'm going to do it exactly like the way that guy did it,
Mhm.
I don't think you're going to have the same feel as if you just feel it and you're like, this is what it needs.
Yeah, that's the thing. For me, it's very hard to make an exact copy of the music that I like. I always, even if I want to sound exactly the same, it's gonna sound different every time. But
Yeah.
I keep trying, and while doing it, I discover things that are my own. But, but it's an endless quest to get to the Holy Grail. So once you reached it, I think it's time to go.
Well, you know what, friends? I think we've had a pretty good show here. I want to do one more song, but before we go, we kind of have to go around the room and find out what's going on with people. Give everyone, let them know what's going on in the next couple weeks as far as gigs and what you got going. But my friend Jeff, who got sick, Jeff, get well, please, young man. He told me to pass this along that Rosie Flores, who was sick, she's better now. So she's doing a lot better. Don't want to
I'm
go
a big
into
fan.
it.
Cool.
Yeah. So she had to miss a gig on New Year's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Jeff West and the Whitwoods stepped up to the mic, and they played the set and finished it out. And at the same time, Archie from Russell Scott and the Red Hots, he's another great player if you've ever seen Archie. But he was in the hospital.
Oh no.
Yeah, but now he's not.
Good.
But he's gonna get some tests done. So, it wasn't cosmetic surgery he was in there for. Yeah,
He doesn't need it. He's a stunning looking
beautiful man. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
pi-
it's the right area to do that here. I think,
How dare you, sir? What have you heard about our land?
no, it's all over the world. Trust me.
Well, good. Maybe get some Botox on the way out of here.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. I will smile forever or never again.
Paul, what else you got? You got anything
Well,
parting words?
there was one thing I was going to tie in. We were all talking Paladins, and I had an awesome Paladin story was backstage at the Nashville Boogie a couple of years ago. they took one of my requests, and I remember you asked me to bring up. So Nashville Boogie 2020 is going to be October 2nd through the 4th, only at the Nashville Palace, and Moonlight Trio is on it. Abby Girl and the Real Deal, Laura Hope and the Arctones, Psycho DeVille's, Tiger Army. So
Yeah.
a lot of awesome bands. So this year they're moving it to October, and it's a really good event to keep on your radar. And like we were talking about earlier, it's not just rockabilly. It's like, Tiger Army and traditional country bands and, Western swing bands. So I would check that out if you want to go to a really good, and not to insult them, it's not as huge as Viva, but it's a really good middle tier festival. So
Yeah.
check that out.
Seems like a wider spattering of music styles.
Yeah.
If I could use that term.
Yeah.
What else you got going, Tommy?
Let's see here. Me and Tim are playing tonight over in San Pedro at
Nice.
Godmother's.
Nice.
And then tomorrow night we're going to be at Benji's. It's a deli right there at the 55 and the 5.
So Saturday, January 11th.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. The next Thursday, which is the 16th,
I think
is
so.
that correct?
Yeah.
We'll be at Decades in Anaheim. It's right in their promenade area. And we'll be with Tim. Paul Pagat will be in town.
Whoa.
And then Amber Fox, who lives right down the street, will be dropping by.
Nice.
And since it is NAMM week, we,
Is she
odds
gonna
are.
is she gonna do shots with you or sing with you?
There's probably a fair amount of both. So we'll see. We'll see.
about
We'll sing first.
You
Shots
mean
later.
shots like this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in.
You have a
She-
clinic coming up, right?
That's
too?
right. That's right.
At
So
Beatnik?
at the Beatnik, yeah. So on Friday night, it's our annual speakeasy show over at the Beatnik Bandito, and that'll be with Paul. Tim will be sitting in. Kid Anderson, and Laura Chavez, who's a fantastic guitar player. And again, just because it's the week, got to come and just see who drops in. It's always a surprise. And this is sponsored by Grez Guitars, which I should have brought tonight. But and then on Saturday, we'll be playing with Paul Pagat at the Kid Ramos Birthday Fest. And then on the bigger thing, I just want to congratulate Amber Fox for being nominated for an Ameripolitan. And
That's
Yeah.
we'll be in Memphis, which I have not been to yet.
Yeah, you should
So-
go.
Wait, you've never been to the
I've
award
never-
show or never been to Memphis?
Well, I drove through Memphis. I got barbecue and drove through when I was with Candy Cane, but I've never spent time in Memphis, so this is.
So the
This is
Memphis
coming
King
up.
is going to Memphis.
what kind of scam is this? The
know.
Memphis King's never been to
Oh,
Memphis.
yeah, that's right. Well, we never named
Sherrod.
the band after. We named it after Memphis Street in Huntington Beach because
Oh.
we had gigs before we had a
Yeah.
had a
and,
name.
And nothing goes good with Villa Park or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the epicenter of soul and culture in Southern California, and that was the big thing. So a lot going on.
All right. Shakedown Tim, if people want to get to know you, what do they do? YouTube, buy your CD, what do they do? Besides going to these gigs Tommy was talking about.
Those are two very good suggestions, especially that second one. I also got vinyls for, I got a Facebook page, Shakedown Tim. I got a website. I got an Instagram page, but I'm kind of digital handicapped. I do my best to get it working, but I'm
Yeah.
glad I know how Facebook works now. So, but yeah, they can find me, and if I also have an online store, so I'm happy to send music everywhere. So
Right on.
But if you want your picture with Tim and you want a
Oh, yeah.
autographed vinyl, you got to come to one of our shows.
you can book me all over the world. I'll be there.
We found your Instagram, so we'll tag it with
Yeah.
the West Coast Ramble stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Why don't you play us out on a song?
Let's do Bad Boy. It's a bit. I'm a bad boy, long, long ways from home. I'm a bad boy, long, long ways from home. I ain't got nobody, no one I can call my own. I'm a bad boy in your town all alone. I'm a bad boy in your town all alone. You ain't got nobody, got no place I can go. All right. Next time I travel, have you by my side. Yeah, next time I travel, have you by my side. Then I won't have to worry. Everything will be alright. And everything will be alright when Tommy's playing. All right. I'm a bad boy in your town all alone. I'm a bad boy here in Orange all alone. When I'm here with Tommy Harkenrider, I know everything will be alright.
All right, that's West Coast Ramble, episode 42. Want to thanks to Tommy Harkenrider for coming in. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And Shakedown Tim, thank you for traveling all this way.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. And then Paul, thank you so much for coming in at the last minute and subbing for Jeff, who is sick now. You did a great job in, man.
What's your favorite color?
Oh, you got me.
Lonesome train.